So now let us start the paper 1, and this paper 1 is common to all the branches who are going to apply or who are going to attempt the UGC NET examination. So hence you can see the paper 1 is mostly based on your research or research aptitude and teaching aptitude, and it is also based on your aptitude skills. So if this first part is common to all the branches, then you can expect that they are going to ask the questions which are not related to specific branches, a specific domain only. That is, for example, if you are a student from biology, then they are not only going to ask you questions from biology, they are going to ask you questions from every single branch, from every single domain. And you don't need to have a PhD on every single subject. For example, you don't need to have a PhD on the paper 1, that is educational methodology. So you don't need to have a PhD on educational methodology. What they want to know is at least you should have a knowledge of all these different areas so that you can improve in your working skills. For example, if you are studying the subject which is educational methodology, then educational methodology is not taught in some of the domains. Like we have students who are applying from MTech, that is computer science MTech, they are applying for UGC NET examination, then they have never studied the subject which is education methodology. There are students who are applying from MCA, these students never studied the subject which is educational methodology. We have environmental science and so on. So whatever in the first paper we are going to cover, that is we have to cover everything, and this everything we are not going to do PhD on a single topic. At least we should have an idea of every single topic so that we can clear it. And clearing the paper 1 is very easy as compared to paper 2 and paper 3. So we'll start with the educational methodology, we'll start with some fundamentals, and we are going to cover everything crisply, because whatever I'm going to teach you in this paper 1, that is going to be good enough for you to clear the paper 1 examination. Okay, so we'll start with the teaching part. So how can you define teaching? So teaching can be, it is only the information which can be transferred. So in case of teaching, we are trying to transfer the information from the teacher to the student. So you can write it like this: only the information can be transferred, okay. Now when I say objectives of teaching, then objective of teaching means the main objective of teaching is bring out the social, desirable, behavioral changes in the students according to the need of the society, right? So let me repeat it again. I'm saying the main objective of teaching is to bring about the social, desirable, behavioral changes in the student according to the needs of the society. So whatever I'm points I'm speaking here, it is better if you can write all those points in your notebook. So that is really going to help you. So this is the objective of teaching. Objectives of teaching. Okay. Now here teaching is both art as well as it is the science. You can say it like this: teaching is both art and science. Okay, so why teaching is called an art? Because teaching depends on personal skills, and personal skills is an art. And when I'm saying teaching is science, that means teaching will be successful if it is systematic. If something is systematic, then it is called as science. Okay, so we can write out these points here. Teaching is art. Why? Because teaching is teaching depend on the personal skills and personal skills are free, or you can say, and personal skills is an art, is an art. And when I'm saying teaching is a science, when I'm saying teaching is science, because teaching follows a systematic methodology of transferring information. So you can say teaching will be successful if it is systematic, and if something is systematic, then that is called as science. Okay, and you can also define teaching as teaching is a process. You can also say teaching is a process. Teaching is a process. And you can also say teaching is dynamic in nature because it depends on dynamic concerns of the society. Right, so you can say teaching is dynamic in nature. Teaching is dynamic in nature because it depends on the dynamic concerns of the society. And teaching also, see, environment is a big factor in terms of teaching, because teaching depends on the environment itself. Okay, so this is, see, this complete subject is mostly like psychological. You are going to define what is teaching, and you are going to identify what are the goals and your responsibilities while you are teaching some students, or while you are making a career in teaching. Then you should follow some responsibilities and roles, or some idealism which you have. Okay, so you can say there are 3 teachers in Mahabharata. So in case of Mahabharata, there are 3 teachers. 3 teachers in Mahabharata, and they are like this. So this is 3, not 3. This is 3. Number 1 is Dronacharya. Second one is Kripacharya. And third one is Sandipani. Okay, so when I'm saying Dronacharya is we are providing higher education, or you can say advanced education. Those teachers are called as Dronacharyas. When we have Kripacharya means we are providing the basic knowledge. And when we are saying Sandipani, that means these teachers are providing complete education to the student. Like your mother is there, your mother is going to provide your complete education to the student. So these are called as Sandipani. Okay, and there are 3 types of teaching systems which are available. So you can say there are teaching systems. There are 4 types of teaching system. Number 1 is bipolar teaching system. Bipolar. Number 2, it is tripolar teaching system. Tripolar. Number 3, it is quadrupolar teaching system. And number 4, it is a pentapolar teaching system. Okay, when I'm saying we have a bipolar teaching system, it means a single teacher is giving, or single teacher gives every level of knowledge to the students, and he is only responsible for giving the whole knowledge. Okay, so you can say in case of bipolar, we have only 2 person which are available, which are responsible here, which is number 1 is a teacher, second one is a student. And this single teacher is responsible for every level of knowledge, and he is also responsible for giving the whole knowledge to the student. And second is the tripolar teaching system. That means we are going to have 3 poles like this, and all these 3 poles are very, very important. For example, the first pole is the content, the second pole is the teacher, and the third pole is the student. Content, teacher, and the student. And then we have the quadrupolar teaching system. In case of quadrupolar teaching system, we have 4 poles like this, where one pole is the teacher, second pole is the student, third pole is the content, and the fourth pole is the context. Fourth pole is the context. When I'm saying content means what he is teaching, and context means why he is teaching. Okay, so you can say in case of quadrupolar teaching system, some content and different context. So according to the context, we are going to change the behavior. Okay, again we have potapolar teaching system. In case of potapolar teaching system, teaching affects according to the environment. So you can say teaching affects according to the environment. According to the environment, right? So you can draw it like this. There are 5 major portions of this. Number 1 is the teacher and the student. Then we have a context, we have a content, as well as we have an environment which also plays a major role. Environment in this system, right? So if in options, for example, a tripolar is present, then answer will always be tripolar. Otherwise we have potapolar teaching system which we follow. So tripolar is, that means there's a teacher, what is the content he is teaching, and there is a student. Okay, so in the same way we can study what are the requirements of teaching. So for teaching we require a teacher, we require a student, we require content, we require context, and we require environment. So you can say what are the requirements of teaching. Requirements are, number 1 is the teacher, number 2 is the student, number 3 is the content, number 4 is the context, and number 5 is the environment. Okay, so we are going to see all these requirements again. So here again I'm explaining that we are not going to study this every subject in complete in depth. We are just going to study the important points, or you can say crisp thorough or crisp study of every portion, so that we will be able to answer the questions. So will not be blank in the question paper. So we don't have to score 100% marks here, we don't have to score 80% marks here, we just have to qualify the cutoff. Okay, and the cutoff is already defined, and the most of the questions which are going to ask which they are going to ask from the paper 1, they will be based on your general aptitude and your idealism. That means what do you think, what is your thinking process, how do you think teaching should be, or what are the various teaching methodologies which you can follow, or how can you make your teaching more dynamic and more interesting. So we are going to follow all these concepts only. So let us move on to the next video, and we'll study all these things in a complete detail.